So for today's video, I've come back to the beautiful Lake District, a place I haven't been back to for quite a while now. So let's see what I can make of this wonderful, pretty location. No, sorry, that's not right, is it? No, I've travelled through the Lake District, out the other side, and I'm now at the Cumbrian coast. So let's see what I can make of this wonderful, rather gritty location. So I'm exploring this coastline from Barrow-in-Furness in the south to Silloth in the north. This includes the coastline known as the Solway Firth, and I pass through some wonderful towns along the route. More gritty than pretty, but very photogenic nonetheless, and, well, my kind of coastline. First stop off then was Roa Island, to the south of Barrow-in-Furness, where I found these wonderful old boats. Then it was a bright and early start the next morning for the next location. So I'm starting off this morning here at Ravenglass. You can see there's some lovely first light this morning. I bet the Lake District is looking beautiful in that. But here I'm down on the beach. There's a kind of a famous view here with the beachfront houses and some marker posts sticking out the sand. So I'm come to do that view. Not sure if it's working for me this morning. I'm going to take a couple of shots anyway, but it's not my favourite view along here, or my most promising, but I wanted to take this anyway. Don't know if it's the right time of day, but I'm going to take this and just frame up a shot with those marker posts and the old houses along there. That'll get me started this morning at least. But apart from that, I don't think there's anything else catching my eye down here, so I'm just going to move on to my next location now. So I've had a quick scout around the town along the beach here in Seascale, but I haven't really found a shot. Well, one sums up this town, and two, a shot that catches my eye in any way. So I walked along the railway line, along the coastal path, and reached this bridge over the railway. I thought there might be a good view down here. It's okay, get a view of my next location that way, but I actually like a view of the bridge looking out to sea here. It's nothing much, it's just about the shape looking out to sea, but when there's no other shape here, it gives me a shot which, well, as I said in that previous video, is out of the ordinary. It's just a case of seeing and appreciating what is here and for what it is. And a little bit of light coming through now. I'll take that. So anyone else may just see an old bridge here, but I see more than that. It's a focal point. There's shape, there's texture, there's signs of age and use, which gives it an industrial look in the images. It's a view out to sea, but this is part of that view. It's part of this coastline and part of this town. In this third shot, it's about simplicity and using that hint of morning sun. Abstract and taken out of context now. There's new lines, diagonal ones, and they help create an interesting minimalist result. You can decipher this last result yourself and whether or not you would have taken this view. But 4 shots of one bridge, that's not a bad result. And with a train just about to come through, I think that'll add a bit of interest to the view from the bridge. So I've just been back to the car, have something to eat, and also changed my jumper. It's got really warm now, clear blue skies at the moment, which wasn't meant to be forecast for today. So I'm going to go on past that bridge over the railway onto my next location. And of course we do have clear blue skies, so we do have sunshine, and I don't know if that's going to benefit or hinder my next shots. I think these kind of views I do these days suit an overcast conditions, cloudy skies. So I do have blue skies, I do have sunshine, and that will influence how, well, gritty this next shot ends up, I suppose. So this is not the first time that I've actually shot this view. I did this quite a few years ago now. Very opposite conditions. There I had, I think it was raining on that day. Here I got complete opposite blue skies. But I'm also not the only one to have done this shot before. I'm sure many people have shot this view before, but I actually got the idea of this view from Joe Cornish, because he did a video where he travelled across the country and he ended up here and got this viewpoint, or similar viewpoint, so that's where I got the idea of it. And actually that video that he did is actually where I got the idea for my Route 66 video that I did across Cumbria and the Lake District, across the whole of the north on the A66. So yeah, I'm not only copying his view here, I copied his video idea in a way. Everything I do is down to him then. So basically it's a view across the golf course in front of the Sellafield with all the towers, which I think have slightly changed since my last visit. Oh, underneath a clear blue sky with a little bit of patchy cloud. So my thinking here was to capture the power station between these two distant hills. Without a flag on the golf course to add interest in this viewpoint, I set myself down nice and low to capture the natural, or I guess unnatural, undulation of the green to add shape in the bottom half of the frame. I switched to 16:9 format to frame this up to help emphasise that foreground shape, and there was slight shadowing on the scene from the sun that's over my right shoulder. But yeah, not quite the conditions I wanted. Well, if I do want a yellow flag in a shot, there is one there. Maybe that's the one I used before, but at the moment there's also some rather irritating golfers. So whilst the view of Sellafield isn't at its best today, this view behind me, looking across the train tracks out to the coast, with all those boards, the blue sky, the track, I think that's my shot from here. I think this is going to save me today. after taking these two shots of the power station close up, the inevitable did happen, as you may guess from the police car you can just see departing there. I was caught on the security cameras looking very suspicious, taking photos from the public land and public cycleway, I might add, and, well, two officers came to question me. I politely refused to give them my details, as, well, I didn't have to, and I also refused to say whether I'd arrived here by car. Again, not a question I was obliged to answer. It was a polite conversation, but they were pushing their luck if they thought they could get any details out of me, other than I was taking pictures because, well, I liked the building. It wasn't like I was trying to scale the perimeter fence or anything, just minding my own business. Now, I think I won the game when a cyclist rode past us during the interrogation, as I asked why they didn't stop and question him too, as he is just as suspicious as me. The officers actually agreed, especially considering the lycra the bloke was wearing. Anyway, a couple of good shots, despite the hassle to get them. So today I've come north to Silloth, probably the most northern town I'm going to visit on this trip. And this looks out onto the beautiful Solway Firth. You can actually see Scotland across there, across the coastline. But I'm not here to photograph that. I'm here to photograph the town, and in particular, that rather beautiful mill. So from this side, just by the RNLI building, it's got a little bit of morning sun on the mill, which is nice. And I'm using this junction here to frame up the shot. Just using that arrow at the junction as my bit of foreground. Do a vertical shot, vertical for the height of the mill, and fill the foreground with that white junction sign. It's not what you see, it's the way that you see it. Well said, Craig. You did actually say that yesterday, but no harm in repeating this important point. So from this side we've got a different part of the mill. We've still got the sunshine on it, a little bit of light, a little bit of blue sky as well, which is not ideal. But instead of just doing a view straight up to that shape there, which is what I'm doing here, it's all about the shape, I'm just going to complement it with a bit of foreground just to give it a bit more interest. And here it's the double yellow lines, so it's just a case of getting a low viewpoint, fill that foreground, and therefore we have that foreground and background complement. It just makes this a bit more interesting. So you can keep your Ullswater, you can keep your Derwent water. For me, this is the splendour of Cumbria, not the Lake District. More gritty than pretty, but to my eyes, just as appealing and photogenic. Less tourists too. Then, having done that, another opportunity walked my way. Well, my second subject here is the fire station training tower. Yes, it's just a tower. Yes, that's a bit boring, but again, perhaps take a closer look. In fact, here, this morning, we do have the advantage of light for the capture. I'm looking directly into the sun, but this will work to my advantage. I hadn't planned for this, but maybe this is going to prove to be more interesting than I had originally hoped. Well, the more observant of you who remember my Route 66 video from a few years back will probably recognise this location. This is where I ended that video, that route across the country, and this is where I'm ending this route, or this trip this time. Different conditions this time, very different actually. It's calmer, there's clear blue skies, and it's morning rather than afternoon. But this is where I'm ending this trip, and I hope to get some different shots, if maybe less dramatic this time. This is actually one of the reasons why I like returning to locations that I have shot before. One, it kind of takes the pressure off. If you have got decent shots from a place before, you haven't got that pressure to get something there first time. You can relax a bit more perhaps. And secondly, it forces you to look a bit deeper. I've done the main shots from here. They're all done. I've got them in good conditions. But now I can look a bit deeper and see what else is here that I perhaps missed last time because I was so focused on other things. Of course, lastly, if you didn't get the shots last time, if you didn't get conditions, well, you can have a second go now. So this is me telling you, without my microphone switched on, that because I don't have big dramatic skies today, or have the rough seas of my last visit, and because I'm looking into the sun rather than the sun being out to sea as before, I do have shadows. I can use shadows. Yeah, very good, Craig, but come on, you had one job. Make sure you switch your mic on. Well, I'm not going to better the shot that I got down here last time on my last visit. I was really pleased with that one. So today, I'm just thinking outside the box a bit more. Oh, sorry, am I in your way? Yeah, could you move please? Sorry. So to finish off this shoot, I'm kind of getting back to the nitty gritty as it were, and I've come over to where the wind turbines are. So across the water, across that bit of harbour, I'm now standing in the land where all the wind turbines are based. And actually over here it's not that gritty, it's quite scenic. There's some sea stacks sort of behind me here. So I'm just going to try and get what I can, shot of these wind turbines from over here, see if I can find an unusual angle. And then that's me done. That's my trip to the Cumbria coast. So as I go looking for my final shots, thanks for watching, and well, give this video a thumbs up if you think this location was better than going to the pretty Lake District. Mind you, it does smell of around here. So these wind turbines you would kind of describe as being gritty, a bit of an eyesore maybe, but there is a beauty to them too. But also a bit like triffids, aren't they? Roaming across the landscape. Day of the triffids and all that. That then was a summary of my trip along the Cumbrian coast. If you'd like to see the full trip report and the rest of the ordinary images captured here, then you can subscribe to my E6 subscription to watch this and over 100 other videos exclusive to the subscription. Check out the website for more details and to subscribe.